Good morning, everyone.
Hey.
Beautiful fall day. As I said, driving up the river this morning, there's some greens, there's some light greens, there's some oranges, there's some reds. We're going into a new season. So get ready. Who knows what winter's going to bring? Call our meeting to order with the first item is public comment. Anybody wishing to address the Winona County Board, please step to the podium, state your name and address, and we have the 2-minute timer on. Thank you.
Cassidy Saraki, I live at 1254 West 3rd Street in Winona. I would like to address item number 7.3 regarding discontinuing the call-in option for public comment and going to just a live stream of the meetings. I am against this. I know other government bodies like the City of Winona or Winona Area Public Schools do live stream only. However, we got to consider that their land area, what they cover, is much smaller than Winona County. And I think it would be unreasonable to expect someone, say, from St. Charles to have to drive into their mind, especially in the wintertime if roads are bad. So having the public comment online, I think is a service to the public that we should keep. Also, I'd like to note that members of the board have called in, say, if they were sick or traveling. And I think we should continue that because I would like all 5 of you to continue participating in the meetings, even if you can't be here in person. So please don't get rid of this. I also want to mention, I don't recall the porn spam happening when we were using Ring Central. So I don't know if that's an option to go back to that, or if there were security features enabled in that application that maybe need to be turned on in Zoom. I'm not sure how that works, but I don't think we should do a knee-jerk reaction and just pulling it right away. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to address the county board this morning? Is there anyone online? You still have the option. Don't see any. And the last time, is there anyone else wishing to address the Winona County Board? Okay, if not, we'll move on. Item number 3 is the approval of the county board meeting minutes from August 26th, 2025.
So moved.
Okay, we have Commissioner Elzing and a second by Commissioner Olson to approve the county board meeting minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, approved. Item number 4 includes 4 items. 4.1 is the road and bridge from February 18th. 4.2 is the Economic Development Authority from June 26th. 4.3 is the Board of Adjustment from July 17th. And 4.4 is Planning Commission, July 17th.
I'll move to approve those committee minutes.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Vagley, second by Commissioner Elzing to acknowledge and approve and accept the committee meeting minutes 4.1, 2, 3, and 4. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, approved. Item 5, consent comments and approval of the agenda. Attorney Sonneman?
Thank you. I was focusing on one of the agenda items, sorry.
Yes.
Yes, I just have one comment, thank you.
Comment? Okay. Commissioner Vagley?
2 quick things at the end, please.
Okay.
I've got a discussion item in the comment.
Okay.
Nothing.
Commissioner Olson, Commissioner Meyer?
Just an announcement.
Okay. And Administrator?
Nothing, Madam Chair.
Okay, and I've got a couple announcements and maybe a request for board action. Okay. And I would like to pull 6.5 for a separate vote and 6.6 for a little bit of discussion. So if we could make 6.5 7.0 and if we could make 6.67 0.05, whatever, however we want to, I mean, put them at the beginning of the general business. So with those changes, would we have an approval of the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda as it was amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Olson to approve the amended agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, approved. All right, Ms. Holte, would you read the business for consent into the record? Please.
Absolutely. 6.1, approve conditional use permit for Twyla Peterson. 6.2, approve conditional use permit for Jake and Mary Yoder. 6.3, approve conditional use permit for Beverly Dulick. 6.4, approve extension of interim assessor appointment and professional services agreement with Mauer County. 6.5 was pulled. 6.6 was pulled. 6.7, approve 2022 hazardous materials emergency preparedness grant. 6.8, approve resolution for funds received from Taylor Family Farm Foundation for Dive and Rescue Team. 6.9, approve purchase of Dive and Rescue Team boat. And 6.10, confirm payment of disbursements.
Move to approve the consent business as it was read into the record.
Second.
Excuse me. We have a motion by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Olson to approve the consent business as read into the record. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay. Approved. Then moving into general business, 7.0, which was 6.5, approve the 2025-2027 Department Head Association Agreement. And I did, and I apologize, I asked Ms. Holt, was there any significant changes in that agreement?
I did respond. The
Oh, okay.
major changes are wages and benefits. All the rest of it is minor language changes.
Okay, one of the things that kind of gets my attention is, we put cost of living, and I don't know, it's not really a cost of living, because the cost of living by the definition by the bigger government is for 2027 or 2026 is like 2.7. And I think we have 3 in there. So maybe it's just the semantics or anything, but it's really truly not I don't know who calculates that it's 3% for Winona County and it's 2.7 for the rest of the country. So I don't know, maybe it's just the terminology that they use, but, and again, I didn't see any pay for performance issues addressed in it. And I was hoping at the department head level, we would be moving forward. And I think we are trying to move forward with department head level, maybe pay for performance.
We'll be having dialogue soon.
Okay, all right. So I mean, I keep hoping, I keep trying to do that. So,
I'll move to approve item, what was formerly 6.5.
I'll second that.
okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Vagley, second by Commissioner Meyer to approve the Department Head Association Agreement. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Nay.
Nay.
Okay, 3-2. All right, and then 6.6 is the approval renewal of enterprise license agreement for Geographic Information Systems, ESRI, software user license. And my question for that is, I know it's a renewal, but thinking, working on budgets and thinking about budgets is, in a bigger picture, what's the definition of insanity? And I guess I'm insane, trying to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. Well, when we go into budgeting and our contracts and everything, we seem to be doing the same thing over and over. And yes, and we're really not getting different results. So what my request is, and I did request from one of my neighboring counties, but I didn't hear back from them, is things like this, user software. I mean, we got 87 counties. We all basically have to do the same thing. We all do it a little bit different. And I don't know for sure why we do it a little bit different, but can't we share software across county lines? And it'll come in, maybe my board action. I have Attorney Sonneman. Attorney Sonneman, you represent 87 counties in your role as leader of the County Attorneys Association.
Yeah.
And isn't a county part of a county attorney's job to negotiate or review contracts?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Quite a
my,
bit.
nothing against this particular one, but can't we somehow negotiate a statewide contract, or all those that want to participate? Numbers usually mean better figures. Numbers mean if I've got people trained on the same software in Houston County, Fillmore County, or Winona County, that maybe eventually we could even share an employee, because they'd all be trained on the same software. So I guess that's what I'm requesting, as we look at these things in a different perspective of how can we save our taxpayer monies, be more efficient and help each other out too.
It's a good question. It really is. And this particular software, and we have many that we do share already through MCCC. Carpel Solutions was tag team by some other counties to try to get that used by more than one county. This is another example. We have a vendor called Pro West. And then we also did some bidding with another vendor on this. But Esri it's the main tool used by GIS for all of our mapping. I mean, it's the big one. If GIS, this is our most important software. I know it is a little expensive, but the cost is shared through other. Pro West reaches out and tries to get better value through other counties. That's why you see the number from 25 to 50,000. They kind of try to combine that demographic to get us the best prices. Unfortunately, Esri is kind of like, well, the next agenda item, Zoom. It's the big one that everyone uses and, everyone kind of needs. So, yeah, but we do try to combine with other counties in different ways. Like I said, MCCC is one of them that we get discounts, share costs. MSISAC, we have the ability to share costs for cybersecurity needs. So we do try to explore ways to do that.
Okay. All right.
This particular contract that was just up this year, we do have it in our budget. It was previously under Bob's technology funds. Maureen and I decided to move it to IT just for better transparency and to keep all the software, as much software as we can together. So it is an added item in my budget this year. But that was a decision that Maureen and I made to keep it all under one umbrella. Plus the technology funds are a little bit more volatile, so we don't know what we have with those every year.
So what are we doing with the technology funds and did they?
They're still there. They're still there. They're
transfer
going to be used for other software services. The funds are a little low in that one right now, so we're trying to build it back up. Bob can probably clarify a little bit better on that. It's
Okay, all right,
his-
that'll be
yeah.
a point.
Yeah, Madam
Yeah,
Chair,
yeah, Attorney
I
Sarah.
just wanted to speak on behalf of the attorneys, yes. But I think forever, we've got other software, well, like Mr. Lang was talking about our prosecutor by Carpel, but even trying to get Westlaw to even combine with the law library Westlaw and my office, or with like you had mentioned, all of the county attorneys, why can't we get a contract? It's working with those companies and they're the ones that are I guess, the hurdle. And as Mr. Lang was saying, these companies basically, well, I'll say it, I don't think he said it that way, but they basically have a lock on
Sure,
it,
monopoly.
a monopoly. So it's something maybe, someday the legislature could work on, but there shouldn't be any reason why we can't share. And so it is frustrating. 'cause
And
we
I
have
do
to
know
pay for it.
Karin's team is trying to combat some of their issues with terms of service, how long it's taking to implement.
Yeah.
Like Central Square
Yeah.
with your email yesterday. So they're trying to keep them accountable and trying to, make that, prevent that monopoly from happening, but it does happen. So.
Well, 87 counties would be one big customer
Right.
and, if they want our business, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's.
We have to
it's-
push back. We have to be aggressive
Yep.
in our ask and everything, because you're right. They think they got a monopoly on it.
Right. And
uh,
it comes up every year and it's like, knocking against a concrete wall, but we try and we will continue to try and make some good changes that will reduce the costs. As Mr. Lang was saying, there's ways to do that within the contracts, within sharing agreements, like, MCCC is a big example of sharing
Right.
and having that clout. So, yeah.
Commissioner Elson.
Just thinking about this, Chad.
Yep.
I look at this, it's a year contract. And if S3 is ESRA, S3,
Yep.
I'm assuming. is
Esri.
correct. Regardless of who it is, let's just say they're the player, right? The only real leverage we have is time. And I noticed they do a year to year.
Mhm.
Is that us or is that them appropriating that?
That was us for the sake of time and getting this in front of you. the last contract, from what I saw through Bob, was a 3-year contract. This particular software was expiring next month. So I had Zachary from my GIS team reach out to renegotiate to get us that 1-year contract. But I foresee in the future that we're going to build off a 3 to 5 and try to save some more money there.
10%, 15%.
Exactly. And we do with most of ours are 3 or 5.
Yeah.
Just
that-
with an anomaly a little bit.
You know, for me, again, the challenge of getting paid is figuring out leverage. That's the key.
Yeah.
And, you know, to go back and say, hey, we have alternatives. We'd like to stay with you, but, you
Yep.
know, I mean, really, that's all we have.
Yeah, and we might even be able to do that with this cycle, with this, if we can come back to it before the end of the year, but it was time sensitive.
On those 3 to 5s, do they put an auto escalator in them?
Mhm.
Yeah,
They
and that-
usually do. Like
Yeah.
the
that's
Granite is
thing
one
that
you
I
remember.
find that in that fine print. In fact, first
Yeah.
day I was on the board, we found it in that sheriff's one at
Yeah.
5%. And, you know, those are the killer of contracts.
They are.
I love it when they're in my favor, hate it when they're not.
Right.
And so a lot of times I'll negotiate those out and say, hey, this is a flat fee, no auto escalator. Because what it does is sets the bar the next time.
Yeah.
You're used to paying 5 on 5 on 5. And now all of a sudden.
Eventually it's gotta
Yeah.
stop.
And it's a trick is really what it is. So if we can negotiate out, I guess this is to what Attorney Sonneman too. One of the biggest ones is to get rid of the escalators.
Yeah. I will say that this year is a little bit of a pivotal point with software because like I mentioned, Ms. Holte and I have worked together to try to bring more of it under the IT umbrella. So some of the software is new to me and the process of negotiation. So I anticipate getting through this budget cycle, I'll have a better understanding. We lost Chuck at a bad time too. So it's just kind of a timing issue with this one.
So you bring up MCCC,
Yes, ma'am.
and that is all counties or no, that's.
I don't think it's all counties.
Not all
It's a
counties.
group.
It's a significant number.
Yes,
Yeah.
significant numbers. So are you?
I want to say
active-
56.
Are you being active with them and seeking out?
We are, yeah.
Who's using this and can we tag team and I know, we have a good GIS program and employees and maybe again, thinking outside, maybe we can share some of that employee we've got a lot of small counties that don't have, GIS departments. And then they're paying outside groups to do some of their work. Well, maybe we could do some of that work for a fee. I mean,
We do have a little bit of a chargeback for this software from the city of Winona
yeah,
because they have.
we do their, yeah.
Yep, they have 2 people that use the system, so
Yeah.
I can't remember, it might be $11,000 or something, so it does cut into it a little bit.
Yeah, but I guess I would like to see maybe our neighbors cooperating better.
Sure.
Commissioner Vagley.
I'll move to approve what had been formerly 6.6.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the license agreement for Geographic Information Systems,
Appreciate it.
Yeah, yes, sir.
ESRI. Commissioner Vagley and seconded by Commissioner Meyer. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Approved. All right, then we're moving into 7.1, receive update from the University of Minnesota Extension. And I think we all got a email that really highlighted. We just wrapped up the Minnesota State Fair. It looks like Winona County did awesome work.
Yeah, I'm
Did get
sure.
one of those famous donuts up there.
You did?
I did.
How long did you stand in line?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Huh,
Crazy. story.
interesting.
I walked up and a guy literally, I just said, hey, are they what they're worth? And he had a bag of them. He goes, you want one?
Oh, nice. So
Well,
I was
good
not
seeing
that, I was not that honored. So Lisa Dirks, Regional Director for Extension. I'm going to do just a quick, a few acknowledgements and some updates about staffing and then turn it over to Micah to talk to you about updates about the Winona County 4-H program. So first of all, the County Extension Committee, thank you for the recent appointment. We are now full for our public membership. And so I want to acknowledge those public citizens who are part of the committee and bring forward their thoughts and ideas on how do we continue to improve services in Winona County. I also just want to give a thank you to Chelsea Wilbright, staff member for Winona County. She serves as our secretary and so takes those minutes, which is important for us to keep track of what we're all doing and remembering everything. A little bit about staff changes. You are probably aware that Linda Mueller retired from Winona County earlier this spring after many years of service. And so Ann Schwartel was an internal transfer. She has been great for our department. She hit the ground running. Her first fair was within, I'm going to say weeks, not necessarily months of her starting, and she just jumped right in. So we appreciate Anne and being a new member of our team. Also want to acknowledge Brody Erickson was our summer intern. He also came into Winona, Mower County. He's from Mower County originally. Not only brought his experience as a 4-H'er, but he also had some tech skills that we utilized to get us going through the fair as well. Yeah, he's a good kid. And then upcoming, we are all patiently awaiting news from Kim regarding arrival of her second child. So, and then she's still continuing to work until she is on leave. And then at that point, Melindy Miller will be joining us as an interim educator until Kim's return. So those are just some administrative updates. I'm going to turn it over to Micah to talk about 4-H.
Perfect. Thanks, Lisa.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present our Winona County 4-H updates throughout the year. And as you know, 4-H, our mission is learning by doing and experiential learning. And so today I'm going to share a little bit about our programs and how youth have those opportunities to participate in those programs in our county. So next slide, please. Here's a snapshot of our stats for our county. Currently, we have 631 youth enrolled. We have 129 adult volunteers. We have 15 community clubs throughout the county that helps our widespread reach of 4-H, along with our 6 partnership clubs that meet locally in the county here, and that also helps with our widespread reach of 4-H. So, next slide. As you can see at the graph here, our 4-H program is continuing to grow. In the red, you will see our partnership youth programs. In the light blue is our community club youth, and then the dark blue is the total youth in the county. So as you can see, lots of growth there. It's also important to note that whichever outlet these youth decide to participate in 4-H, they're all considered 4-H members and are welcome to participate in any opportunities that we have throughout the county, regional level and state level. So lots of growth and momentum there. Next, I'm going to share just a little bit. I don't have a lot of time with you guys, so we're going to highlight just a couple of our opportunities and highlights throughout the year. Along with our increased membership and participation, we've had multiple different programs and outlets for these youth to participate in. New this year is our programs and partnerships with the Impact Center and the Kids First program. Those will kick off here very shortly. Our success that we had at the Winona County Fair and State Fair, those showcases, I'll talk a little bit more about that here. Our successful internship programs that we have one in the summer, and we also host some in the spring through collaboration with WSU, which has been a wonderful partnership there. Our cooking clubs, outdoor cooking and gardening programs have been a hit this summer as well. Personally, my favorite has been the cooking and nutrition programs because that is skills that build naturally. The teamwork, the math skills, measuring, adapting recipes, all of those skills happen so naturally, and that has been personally my favorite.
And I got to judge the state county fair, so keep that in mind.
Yes.
I got steak.
Yes, our state cook-off at the county fair, that was a big hit. And those programs have continued to grow this year thanks to our grant that we had through the Winona Community Foundation and the BK 5K grant. We were able to purchase 5 Blackstone griddles for kids to do some outdoor cooking. So that has been huge. If you ever want to do some outdoor cooking, let me know. I can help you out. Another successful program that we had this summer was our regional camp that happens every year at Whitewater State Park. We had about 60 Winona County kids there. In total, it was around 100 kids per camp, so a little bit over that. So they're there for the full week, the third through 5th graders for 3 days, and then the 6th through 8th graders for the next 3 days. So that has been an awesome program. Along with our summer day camps too that happened throughout the summer. New this year, we had traveling project sessions. We hosted 2 woodworking project sessions, left with some bruised fingers, but a lot of fun and lots of new skills, and cooking as well as STEM. So big highlights there.
Micah, I'm not familiar, the Impact Center,
Yes.
what is that?
The Impact Center is an organization, it's actually down the street here. Youth will gather there after school to do homework help, hands-on activities, and this year we're going to be programming with them to bring some 4-H activities there. So,
Okay, all right, thank
yeah,
you.
they did come to the county fair as well on a tour, I think Thursday when you guys were there. So,
Okay,
yes.
We have toured their facility, and I'm sure John Mullen would.
Yes.
Would welcome you to come and.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, come check out our programs. And there's too, wonderful programming happening there. So, all right, next slide, please.
I'm a great sample tester. Good at sampling.
We have an ice cream. I love ice cream.
Another key growth throughout the year has been our expansion of our community partnerships, which I lightly touched on. Currently, I'm partnering with Winona Area Public Schools, the community ed program as well through cooking clubs there, the Lewiston Altura Schools at their Cardinal Club, Ridgeway Community School, Rolling Stone Community School, the Impact Center, and Kids First. So we truly value these partnerships with these organizations, and it helps our outreach for 4-H. It's also good entry points for participation in other programs throughout the county. So yes, and these programs are happening during school hours, after school hours, sometimes as special events, monthly, 6-week clubs, any sort of structure that they like, we typically work with them on. So it's been wonderful to partner with all 6 of these wonderful organizations. Next slide, please. As you can see, our community partnership growth has taken off in the last few years. Back in 2021, when I first started here, we had 1 partner with around 100 youth, and today we have 6 partners with 400 youth, and maybe even more than that, depending on how the rest of the year goes. So, as well as our summer day camp participation, that has grown over the last few years. As you can see, I believe I shared that with you guys last year, but we were averaging around 5 to 8 kids per camp in the summer, and this year we're maxing out at more than I should allow in, 24 kids. So it's been a fun summer, lots of hands-on learning happening, and we really appreciate those entry points for our new families as well as the highlights for our returning members to participate in these opportunities. So next slide, please. Okay, another big highlight of the year, our Winona County Fair and the Minnesota State Fair. This year we had 299 youth participate at the county fair, either in livestock or general projects. So lots of kids at the county fair. And from that group, we had 63 exhibitors at the state fair, livestock exhibitors, with 21 general exhibitors. We had some purple ribbons, we had some interview finalists, some judging teams, all of those things. You can see in the pictures, they're holding up their ribbons, but those are more than just ribbons. That is experiential learning that they are gaining throughout the year, and those proud moments that they get to showcase at the state fair.
There's a number of, the livestock ribbons I thought was really good.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you can see those results too online. We did link them in our newsletter, which I believe you all received. So you can go ahead and check out our county fair and our state fair results.
My question on that was green. Is that just a participation
You know,
with a green ribbon?
yeah, so I think that has been happening the last couple of years for our showmanship results. I don't know if you can speak to that at all, Lisa, but yeah. And I was kind of picking Kim's brain about it too, because I was like, I'm not really sure what that means either. So, but I do believe it's just for showmanship. I'm not sure if it's.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I'll dig into that a little bit more because I didn't fully understand that either. So, but lots of participation happening this year for our showcases. Okay, next slide. Okay, to share a little bit about our formula for success. So we have our positive youth development with our inputs there as caring adults, skill building programs with our outcomes of confidence and young connected people. This overall impact is great for our community. It has reduced risk behavior. Stats have shown that those who participate in 4-H programs are less likely or to reduce that risk behavior in our community. And that's really how the real difference is of what we're making in Winona County. Hopefully we can see these young people sitting where you guys are sitting today or where I'm standing today. So lots of impact, lots of growth and confidence, and we truly are proud of all of our 4-Hers. To wrap things up, we'd like to invite you guys and everybody listening today to attend our 15th annual Winona County Fall Harvest. This event is happening on Sunday, September 28th. We'll have a meal option. You all received complimentary tickets in your county mailboxes. So we'd appreciate it if you could attend, check out all the hard work, and celebrate our youth throughout the year. It's a wonderful event. We'll have a live auction, a silent auction, meal, kids' activities, all that good stuff. So
Time on that?
that is from 11 to 2
At the 4-H building on the fairgrounds.
at the 4-H building on the fairgrounds. We'll have the meal from 11 to 1, and our live auction will start slightly after that. So yes, come on out, celebrate all of our success throughout the year. We'd love to see you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Last slide. And again, thanks for letting me present today and share our updates. I'm happy to chat more with you via email, over the phone, in person. You guys know where to find me down at the office over there. So come say hi, come learn a little bit more. Happy to share. So
Any
thank you.
questions for Micah?
Yes, any questions?
Let's throw her a zinger.
I don't have a question,
Yes,
but
Ms. Sonneman.
I just want to thank you for the work you're doing. That's very exciting and so
Yeah.
enthusiastic. And I was at the state fair at the 4-H building just, let's see, on Labor Day weekend at the 4-H alumni booth with my twin sister, and we were both in 4-H in college. And to see the, as you said, some of us sitting here, and there's quite a few of us who are in 4-H, but to see the folks come in, and we were signing people up for the alumni network for 4-H. And this one woman, for instance, she was in high school in 1973 when I was in high school, and she had brought her grand champion ribbon to the
Oh,
fair
cool.
and was showing
Excellent.
everybody and her family and the family groups that came. And there was this attorney who was from Roseville, but he had grown up in Cook County, Chicago, and was in 4-H in Chicago then, which was, I thought, very unusual. But he was in cooking, he was in some of the classes that you mentioned, but it was so heartwarming to talk to the alumni and to see the fruits of the labor that you guys do. And then, 10, 20, 30 years from now to see that come through.
Yeah.
It was just great. So I just
Very
wanted to
cool.
thank you.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
it's-
Thanks for sharing.
yeah.
What were you, Micah? What club were you?
I actually was not a 4-Her, believe it or not. I know.
Now,
My parents said we're dairy farmers, you get put to work. You don't get to do the fun stuff. So,
was the Mabel busy?
I was in Okabena Bee.
Yeah.
I wish I would have. I was the shy kid, but I think these kids have really brought out different sides of me. So
Sure. My family has a standing joke that, Mom, didn't you, win ribbons in cooking and sewing and, all the domestic things? I said, yes, I did, but I choose not to do those things. That's not my forte.
very fun.
I learned,
So.
I was taught. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
The good
thanks so
work.
much.
And yeah, hopefully the September date is a beautiful Sunday and get a huge crowd. because
Yes,
it's a-
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
major
We'd love to
fundraiser.
see everyone come celebrate
Fundraiser
with
and
us.
celebration.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't know you were, sorry.
I know. Everybody asked me that. So,
Yeah.
but I wish I was.
Wasn't either.
I'm a part now.
Were you a 4-Her? No, I don't think you were.
So I was a 4-Her for a little bit of time.
Not
And
all
if
right.
you go digging back on the Dodge County 4-H Facebook a couple years ago, they asked alumni members to send in a picture of themselves. And so there is a picture of me as a 3rd grader with my rabbit. Don't ask me anything about rabbits now. I did not learn. So, but then also moved to a dairy farm,
Yeah.
got put to work. So yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So they can be taught and
I always said if
fast.
they had video of all the share the fun things that we used to do in 4-H, you used to do skits and plays and all that. I'm sure it would be blackmail today.
The place, yes, I did those two. All right.
Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you very much. Keep up the good work. Okay, moving to 7.2, approve recommendation to appoint Health and Human Service Director Jill Chaffee, page 137.
Good morning, Commissioners. Todd Sadler, HR Director. I'm here today to recommend the appointment of Jill Chaffee as the HHS Director. Comes with many years of experience recently. So recently, she's with Lutheran Social Services as the VP for out-based, community-based clients. But had a great experience interviewing. We had 4 candidates, and by far she, stood out in this. So recommend hiring Jill Chaffee.
I'll move to approve the hiring of Jill Chaffee as HHS Director.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Vagley, second by Commissioner Meyer to approve the appointment of Health and Human Service Director Jill Chaffee. Any discussion? What's her expected date of employment?
Oh, that's a good question. I was waiting for the approval today. It's probably going to be 30 days, I would assume, because she's got to give a notice over at Lutheran Social Services because she's got Wisconsin and the upper Michigan Peninsula.
Sure, sure.
So
Well,
30
you
days.
should tell her she better brush up on her budgeting skills if she's coming in that late to the game.
I know, I will.
Yeah, okay.
It was an impressive resume with a wide range of
Yeah,
experience. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to this, and especially her, there's all kinds of experience, but also
Yeah.
her experience in mental health
Yeah.
services.
Yep, okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
7.3, approve removal of public Zoom links from county board website. Preserve observation only access via live stream. And Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think we need a backstory on this as to why I moved to put this on the agenda and remove our public Zoom link. Before we start, this young lady, I'll answer her question about Ring Central. And it was a great question. Ring Central, when we started here at the county with Ring Central, just before my time here, it was a little known company that is starting to grow. But the difference between Ring Central and Zoom, as you can imagine, there's bad actors, thousands, who knows how many, that just sit there all day targeting Zoom links across the world. I mean, we're one of, I think, 1,200 Zoom bombings a day in the US. It's not uncommon. The reason you don't hear about it a lot is because it's usually not reported. Because other than being nefarious, there's nothing they can do to our network. The only thing they can do is screen capture information that would be on the screen at the time. So it's more of a nuisance, big nuisance. So Maureen and I talked, and I brought it up to her, and I said, a lot of other counties are moving to the live streaming. I know Houston does the live streaming. During COVID, a lot of municipalities did the online where you can call in and speak. That's been removed in a lot of them. The way it'll work, it'll still have a link online. We'll have a link to the live stream. So people can view the video live, just like you're watching a football game, but there wouldn't be interaction. There wouldn't be the public comment, and there wouldn't be any way to interact with you all during the meeting. So from a security standpoint, that's my recommendation, just because it would put me at ease with all of you and everyone that has been affected by what happened. Unfortunately, if you look today, there's 9 or 10 people online interested in the topic. So I get the other side of it. I get wanting to have transparency. But if we choose to keep the link online for Zoom, we are going to explore a couple even deeper security options. We have implemented a couple since the last bombing. One was enable waiting room. So when a bad actor goes onto the Zoom looking for Zoom links, they don't care if we're Winona County or whoever, they capture that. And if there's an enable waiting room, they usually will skip by because they're not going to get invited into the meeting. So that's a big one that we implemented. We also did implement removing whiteboard sharing, which happened in the second time that happened here. So basically, they used the software to capture the whiteboard feature within Zoom and then share that. It was a pretty tricky way. And then one final thing that I'd like to do, and this is a new feature that I spoke with Maureen maybe just this morning or Friday about, is there's an option when we start the meeting, say if your meeting's at 9 o'clock, if you're not a public participant that's going to join at that 9 o'clock time, I'd like to lock the meeting once it's started. Because a lot of bad actors will look for that link once a meeting has started to get in and put in the bad material. So Heidi will have the ability, or whoever's hosting the meeting can lock that meeting. So no one else can join. The people that were allowed in the waiting room, like today, would be able to raise their hand and ask a question. Heidi would have to unmute them, on her side. But so those are some of the security options I'd like to do if you decide whichever way you decide. It's my recommendation to make it a live stream. That's the kind of the route a lot of people are going. But I understand the other side of it. Like I said, this young lady and some others that are used to having that convenient option to call in.
So questions, Commissioner Big.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to comment from a legal point of view
Yeah.
on this. And it's the open meeting law, which is the foundation of this. And the open meeting law does not require that a public body give people the right to speak at meetings. When I started as county attorney, I had written the rules, if you want to call it, because this body wanted to encourage people the right to have a public comment period. But that is not required by the open meeting law. So shutting down they can comment in person. They can also comment by submitting written comments ahead of the meeting. But in terms of shutting down the ability of people to Zoom bomb, I think that's what
Yep.
it's called. Right? There's nothing that prohibits the board from then once the meeting started to shut down the ability to comment.
Yeah, I did look that up too. I think it's 13D.02 other meeting law.
Right, and I had looked at this before, because of the agenda. I do have a concern though about from the open meeting law perspective, and the open meeting law you have to understand is kind of complex and arcane law. But members of the public do have a right to attend and observe the meetings. So locking people out online might be problematic under the
Yeah,
open meeting law.
I went back and forth with that as well, and I actually highlighted that line you just said, so.
But shutting down the ability for people to comment online is permitted under the open meeting law, so.
Commissioner Vega.
First of all, thank you to Chad and all your staff. I know this is a very difficult issue and you are trying your best to try to keep that horrible stuff from appearing. I want to thank you for all the work that you do. I would like to keep it open access. I've always been, when Commissioner Ward and I first started in 2002, the county was just starting to create a web page. And the idea was to make it much more accessible, to make information more accessible, that we have more eyes on it. And I think to the points that that young lady made, I agree. Our county is large, and especially in wintertime. And for even people who live in town, if they're working or have kids at home, I think I would like to try it with the enable waiting room option.
Yep.
And have Heidi or whoever control access to.
She's been doing that the last 2 meetings, and it seems to, in fact, the last meeting I was testing it with her at home and I couldn't get in to talk to you guys. So I was on the meeting. I really was. I was texting Maureen. I don't know what's going on.
Right, you were trying to crash the system.
I was. But on your note there, as far as I did speak to some other counties, Olmsted County and I believe La Crosse, even though they're Wisconsin, they do something where they post a link on their website that when you click the link takes them to their agenda, which houses the Zoom link. So I think that might be another way for a bad actor to say, I'm not going to be able, my code might not even let me get into that.
Sure.
And it's only one click. It says to join the board meeting, click here, and then they see the agenda and the live link or the Zoom link is right there. So I think that's an extra step. I hadn't mentioned it to Maureen yet. I just read up about it. Both Olmsted and La Crosse do that. And like I said, Houston is, they're live streaming now. But
Sure.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Elsing.
Well, and the other one is, so I feel as though we need to do everything we can to keep it open. I like the interaction. I want to give people the opportunity to participate. A couple of things I was thinking is obviously I'm not gonna let a few bad eggs wreck it for all the constituents. I appreciate the waiting room. The other one was, oftentimes to even get into some of these links, there's the, click on all the bicycles.
Yep.
That type of stuff. I don't know what they call that. I'm not, ask me something about phosphorus,
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I just figured there had to be some additional security measures to put into place that we could try. And then if we continue to
Yeah.
have that issue, maybe go down the other road.
There are, and I did enable a passcode so it's a unique passcode every time. At first, when we started, we had a generated passcode for Zoom. Now it's unique, so each time the meeting's different, so those bad actors aren't scanning the same one.
And I know, so every Monday morning, I have a company meeting with all my employees scattered in different states, and Maddie sets up our Zoom links, and I know we have like that double, you gotta click.
Yep.
And then you gotta click.
Yep, and
And
see that.
so we have that enabled on ours.
No, but we can.
No, I'm saying we do.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, it's 2 steps to get in. So, and that's supposedly supposed to eliminate.
It turns them off from even like trying to. do
Yes.
something. So, yeah, we can, that's an easy, I can do that today. I can make that agenda on a separate page, so.
Commissioner Meyer.
But
So the changes that we're talking about, are they for the board meeting? Or are they for all public meetings? Does it include planning commission?
that's a great question because I would like it if we are gonna take that off to do it for planning as well. I do work with Ann and the planning team, so all of the security things that we're doing, we're also doing with her. So whatever direction you take, it's gonna be locked down across the board. For anyone that posts on the website, which is usually just planning, the board meetings and maybe a couple other here and there, but
I do think, I'm going to agree that it's important, and we do have people who frequently participate in Board of Adjustment and planning, but don't have to come in, so that would be good. I guess the one thing I would say is if this ends up costing us something, which is to say, I have, in some organizations, let's just say the city of Winona has a person that comes in and runs their technology specifically for every meeting, and they have to pay for that.
Mhm.
So that we just want to be cognizant that if that is true, there's a
Yep.
cost to this, but I'd say it is
Great.
probably worth it.
Train Heidi.
yeah, they would do the same things that we're able to do here internally, but I know HBC helps them and
Yeah.
they just don't have the capacity either. It's part of it, but I told Maureen on Friday, I said, no matter what direction you go, ultimately, I just want to have the best security we can, network, Zoom wise, anything. So I had to at least put it out there for my peace of mind.
Could you
So,
also fix the deal with it requiring a commercial Zoom account?
oh,
I am consistently getting that. and
didn't we
hopefully
get,
it
didn't
on
we
Zoom.
get you one though? So what we were gonna do is add all of you under our umbrella as a Zoom. So I think
Nope.
you don't want to do that?
No, I would.
Oh,
be happy to do that,
okay.
But you didn't do that.
Okay, I thought we might have done
No,
that.
last
Okay,
planning and Board of Adjustment, I had to call in on my phone. 'cause that's the
Okay,
only way.
I can take care of
Then you
that.
can't see the presentation.
Yeah, we can do
Okay,
that.
Commissioner Elson.
Yeah, I don't think anything here to start these additional measures should have any financial impact. These are
No, it comes
free.
with
Yeah,
the
it comes
platform.
with it. Yeah, exactly. And then two, if we just leave it the way it is, I don't know if we necessarily need a motion to change anything because we're not actually changing anything. You're just putting a couple additional measures. into
Yeah,
place.
I don't think we
So,
do.
Policy.
Yep.
Commissioner Vagley.
Well, that was a question I had as well. So this looks like an action item, but if we don't act on it, then we do not
Change.
change, correct?
We're just gonna put a few extra security things because I think the comment with the planning and Board of Adjustment and I know, if somebody's out of town here, we don't want to lock a commissioner out of the system.
We did lock any users outside of the United States.
Okay.
Both of them came from somewhere other
Okay.
than US.
Okay. So you can tweak this without us really,
Yep, and I already have for the most part, but
Okay.
yeah, we'll stay on top of it.
everybody comfortable with?
Yeah, but unless the staff wants us to make a clear vote. I mean, is it?
No,
No.
it's not necessary.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thanks.
you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Chad.
And of course, Zoom bombing, isn't that part of free speech in this country? I mean, I think you're treading on an area that, a higher court may weigh in at some point in time, but hopefully we can avoid it. Okay, thank you, Chad. Thank you. 7.4, approve resolution setting preliminary levy, page 139. Who wants to, Commissioner Vagley?
Unless, Ms. Holte, you have anything?
No.
I'll make a motion to set the initial levy at 12.49% with the hope that we'll be able to reduce it by the time December comes.
I will second that motion, but
Okay.
also Commissioner Vagley's comments. I know that we are in negotiation with our insurance provider, hoping to reduce that a couple more points. So it's a lot, so I'm hoping that we can bring it down.
Well, I think this is one of those things we can agree to disagree. I hope everybody's been getting the calls and the emails that I have about that percentage increase. Of course, thank you, Winona Post, for highlighting that to the public, which they rightfully need to know. And as I have said is that, you know, we get to send out the statement. And so ours is on there, the school board's on there, the city or township is on there. And when you get to the bottom line, I feel for people. It's going to be not a good year. But that's where it just, I understand some of the stuff, but I don't like it. I have had some conversations with the legislators that they've got to, as I said with Attorney Sonneman, I hate to say it, for better or worse, we need, in my opinion, we need at the state level an Elon Musk type of person to come in and look at these programs. You know, we're asking, even locally here, we're asking department heads to think, where can they cut? Where can they do things different? Which I greatly appreciate. But you know, if you've been working in that field all your life and everything, it's very difficult to see outside the realm of what you've been doing. I think at the state level, I would like to see somebody look at some of these programs that is purely, you know, arbitrary, that can analyze, use these, you know, we use these performance measures. We just approved them here. You know, we have to plow the snow and roads in so many minutes and response time. Use those performance metrics to really look at what we're doing as the state of Minnesota, because we all, like I said earlier, we all have to, counties all have to do the same job. We choose and we have little choice of how we do it differently, but we need more choice of how to do things differently. So I'm going to plead to the legislature, hey, you need to do this at the bigger level. Each little county doesn't have the resources or the time and such to analyze what we're doing and how we can change things.
Yeah.
Commissioner Meyer.
I agree with you, Marcia. I mean, if you look at our budget from the packet last time, our Health and Human Services budget is something like 22 million. 8 million of that is not reimbursed by the state or the federal government.
Yep.
We know that the SNAP cuts are going to increase that almost another million. So there is a task force that's supposed to find cuts in the HHS. And if they don't, the legislature is going to transfer another 151 million to counties. So I've heard it said, oh, counties need to have skin in the game. Well, they're not acknowledging that we do have skin in the
Yeah.
game. And that we're doing this work on behalf of the state of Minnesota, but not getting reimbursed for it. And these changes come back and fall on the property tax.
And I appreciate them doing that task force, but the task force is mostly HHS people and social workers and stuff like that. And I do appreciate that they're trying, but I think they really need a neutral party to come in and say, hey, this is, you know, this is not working or this is working. And yeah, so I think that would be one of our pleas. Any other comments on setting the preliminary levy? Commissioner Ellison?
I look at the ag sector and I look at what I do every day. And there's really, besides beef, is not a good sector in the ag industry right now.
No.
In fact, they're facing some major issues. And I would say the majority of the calls I had after the last meeting have been from the ag sector and the elderly, the fixed income people, even out of my district, which is kind of crazy. And I'm sure that that's in response to the post. Where I'm going with this is that, you know, I take any business, my business and ag business, it doesn't make a difference. We don't have the option to stick our hand out and fill it. We have to find efficiencies. And Mr. Ward, you alluded to the word cut. And cut is a scary thing because it means that something has to be removed. The reality of it is that I don't think anybody has a perfect government, business, farm, pick something, right? So I like to use the word inefficiencies. We have to find the inefficiencies, and that's what we pay big money for people in all these sectors to do, is to find the inefficiencies. That's what a CEO does. That's what a business owner does, is they go out and find those areas and say there's waste there, or we're getting taken advantage of. It's the 5% escalator. It's It's things like that that we pay people big money to do. The experience that they have and what rock to kick over and what to do. That's what these department heads, that's what, my business development manager, that's what people in business do. And we don't have the option to say, well, we're just going to take it from you because we didn't go kick this rock over. No, I'm not putting anybody under the bus. But that's what we're asking from our constituents. We're asking them to take the burden of us not looking for more inefficiencies. So I hardly doubt that we're running a perfect government system at a county level. I don't think we ever will, and I don't think we ever have. But we need to continue to strive down that road, because the one thing I haven't seen put in front of me is I've seen ways to reduce the ask, but I haven't seen anything put in front of me to reduce what was. And that's the key, because we can reduce an ask. That's easy. But it's going back and looking at what was and saying, here are the areas we found inefficiencies to determine, hey, not only can we reduce an ask, but we can reduce what was. We've found things over time that saved us money and present them to say, this is going to offset this. And so that, to me, is what we pay top level people to do, and our department heads, our administrators, what I would pay somebody to run my business, what I see the farmers having to do. I'm in the ag sector. When I have to increase somebody's rent on my rentals and they say, why? And I say, I'm sorry, you're on a limited income, but my expenses have gone up. I'm sorry, you're going to have to figure out how to go make more money. That's the stuff that I want to see coming to the county, is finding these inefficiencies. I don't want to call them cuts. I want to call them inefficiencies. And if we have to cut something, we do it based on necessity. This is more important than that, and go that route. So I believe that there's room to do this. I don't want to set the bar this high. I think we can find some of those inefficiencies. I trust our department heads and leaders to go after them, and I'd be very intrigued for some of that information to not what's being cut today, what's being proposed, but what we already have to find those inefficiencies. So that's my thoughts.
Commissioner Meyer.
Just one last story that I wanted to share, and I've shared it with this board before. Particularly for people who are seniors, who are on fixed incomes, or who have low incomes and property tax increases. There is a property tax refund program in the state of Minnesota. I have a constituent of mine who actually did not realize this, is on a fixed income. All he has is a Social Security. He went to the Senior Advocacy Center. They helped him fill out several years, and he is getting the back property tax refund for a number of years that he didn't collect. It's enough that it has helped him meet an increase in his, he has a mortgage, and so he has an escrow payment that he has to make every month. So I would encourage the other commissioners to share that information with constituents when they call, particularly when they are low income or retired folks on a fixed income.
Yep. And I know Chelsea Wilbright has been a asset in trying to communicate that, but you're right. It's on the back side of your tax statement. I think there is a section about that. If it goes up X percent or dollar, there's a dollar, I think. Yes.
And that is exactly what that is for people who are at risk because their property tax went up.
And as great as that is, and everybody gets the pamphlet and stuff for that, the problem with it is that it doesn't alleviate the burden. And I'm very happy that people on fixed incomes can do that, but it passes it on to everybody else. It doesn't actually solve the problem of government spending. So it doesn't solve the problem of finding the inefficiencies. It's just passing the burden on and spreading it out amongst everybody else. So as much as I am for that, it doesn't fix the root cause of the inefficiency. So I've suggested that to several people too. I just received a call from somebody in your district, actually. So again, I go back and say, these are great programs to have, but we need to stay focused on the true issue, which is efficiency of government. So.
Well, and then there's another phase of this is our assessing, or the market value. And I know that's state run. I mean, our market values continually jump and jump and jump. And so even if we didn't change, you'd pay more taxes because your value went up. And I'm not sure if that's the best system. Of course, that's a state system that we need to look at and evaluate more. But yeah, I mean, of course, people are paying big bucks for houses, but just because they're paying big bucks doesn't mean I should be paying big bucks if I'm not moving and such. It's a not an efficient system, I don't think. I think there's a lot of inefficiency. Yes.
I'm gonna make one more comment.
Elsing.
And I've said this multiple times, and I say this because I live in these areas. We have to protect what attracts people to Winona County. I want to be number one, not number four. I want to be the best run county in the state, not number four. I'm not even happy with number four. And so at the end of the day, one of the greatest things that we have is why we see the mushroom effect out of our neighboring economy and why people are coming here and not choosing other communities in those counties. And everything we do should protect probably our most valuable asset, which is our cost of living right now in Winona County. And my own sister lives in Altura. Why does she live in Altura? The cost of living. She will not move to St. Charles, lives there. She says it's just so much cheaper to live in Altura. Now that's just inner county. And so we have to protect that and we can't forget that. Thank you.
Commissioner Vagley.
Okay, I have to say some things.
ahead.
The primary driver of this is not government inefficiency. There are always efficiencies. I am proud to be in a county that is out of 87 in Minnesota is the fourth lowest per capita. There's always room for improvement for sure. I'm grateful for what the county administrator and other department heads have been doing. The primary drivers is the cost of health insurance increase. 30% for 2 years in a row. That is insane. It's health insurance. It's hitting the private sector and it's hitting the public sector. That's what's sucking up all of our funds. And then tax cuts for billionaires. Plain and simple, political payback at the federal level, which gets passed down to the state level, and the state level passes it down to the county level. And there's also other factors, drivers, cost of living adjustments, but we need to offer our staff competitive wages because private sector, public sector faces labor shortages, workforce shortages all over the place. So I just want to can't let all these comments go without another perspective added.
Commissioner Elsing.
Yeah, there's no doubt that there's increase in cost, and I'll bring it back to the ag industry. Fertilizer is at an extreme high, and the input is high and the output is very low, what they're getting paid. But we can't just go anywhere and take money from somebody. You find the inefficiencies to pay for the offset. That's it. We can't just keep taking it and ignoring the fact that there's efficiencies in farming that we can gain too. I use it because that's what I'm experienced with. So the number one task I'm taxed with is figure out how to make my fertilizer budget more efficient. Not change the grain price, not worry about what costs are, not worry about those because we have no control over that. So it's find it within the system itself. Yes, we acknowledge that these things come up, but the difference in government is that we can legally take it. In every other sector, we can't. We have to find the efficiencies and figure out how to generate more revenue. And so if we can run a system that's more like that, we can save our constituents money. That's all I'm asking.
Ms. Wilbury. Good morning.
Good morning. I tried to raise my hand. I couldn't find the button, but so I ran in here.
All the bicycles.
Yeah, I couldn't get on
Yeah.
via Zoom, but I just wanted to correct, because your value goes up does not mean your tax goes up unless the levy also does.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify that because I'll get a lot of calls wondering, or the assessor's office will get a lot of calls about,
Pie.
yeah, it's a pie.
It always like a pie.
Yep. So if everybody's values go up and the levy doesn't, then your taxes aren't gonna go up
Right,
because of that.
right.
So
But-
that's
but
all.
It's kind of relationship, and it's odd that the insurance industry doesn't think my house is worth as much as the county does.
It-
You know, so there's
just-
some interacting, figures that circulate and hit home.
Well, and that's probably an assessor thing to think of. I just
Yeah,
bought a home
I know.
too, and it's right.
Yeah.
They're a couple years behind.
Good point. There were years in the past where we set the levy at 1%, et cetera, but people's the tax
values.
still went up 4, 5, 6%. And
Yep.
that is because of the value assessment of their properties. Their properties.
They
are
get to
worth-
share more of the pie.
Yeah, if their property went up not consistent with everybody else at a higher rate than everybody else, then their piece of the pie is bigger. Yep.
Because that has happened many times. in the
Yes, yeah, yeah. It's,
It is also worth noting that also we add to our property values from new construction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, which makes the pie in fact bigger, which reduces.
it's.
Everybody's
In
share. Yeah.
theory, it's supposed to. I just never quite see that. Yeah, I'm gonna watch my new Hartford Township because I got a bunch of new houses.
Yeah.
So if they're on a small scale,
Yeah.
it should,
Yours,
in
yes.
theory, my taxes should go down if there's more houses in my township.
Unless the levies go up considerably,
Yeah,
that's good
yeah.
logic. Yes.
The cost of gravel and,
Well, sometimes those new houses will bump up your.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You
When
live
I,
in an expensive neighborhood.
yes, I do. I can't see.
I
the rest
wasn't
of it.
taking away, efficiency is definitely the way to keep our taxes low, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to correct that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate the long drive in and
Yeah, thanks, Jen.
participating. Okay, all right, we have a motion to set the preliminary levy at the 12.49%.
4.9.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Nay. Motion carries. And then we're communications and committee reports. Ms. Sonneman, you had a comment? or something
Yeah,
to
it's
share?
actually just to note today, in my office, Marilee Barrientos, who's a legal assistant. Today is her, her 50th year of being a county employee.
Wow.
She started September 9th, 1975. And so we're honoring her throughout the week. If you want to stop by anytime to greet her, she won't be here this afternoon, but, and I just also, so for the record, being an attorney, I want the record to reflect that Marilee Barrientos has served this county honorably for 50 years, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And also to thank the board for signing the certificate, which I've framed and put by her desk for her to see today. So, and thank the staff too that helped get that certificate put together so you could sign it. So just it's important to honor our employees, I think. So, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Vagley.
Two things. Tonight tomorrow night, I apologize, at Stockton.
Yeah.
Open house for the comp plan,
Yes.
5 to 8 people are welcome to come by. You don't have to be there for all 3 hours. There'll be presentations at three different times. So the public is very welcome to come and hear information and also provide input. And then I also want to thank Senator Jeremy Miller for his announcement. I don't want to thank him for his announcement. I want to thank him for his service.
Sad.
Because that was a surprise to me. I want to thank him for his, what will have been 16 years of service. It's been nice to have a moderate voice, whereas both sides tend to be being pulled to the extremes. Senator Miller has been a nice voice of reason and moderation in the middle. So I want to thank Senator Jeremy Miller for what will have been 16 years of service. And I get it, with 3 young kids, 3 young boys, it's not easy doing what he's been doing for a long time. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Elsing.
A couple things. One is State Fair. I'm just going to bring that up. Success. We were up there, another packed house. It was good to see. Good to see that so many attend that, and just all the 4-H stuff that's up there. It's neat to see all the animals and projects. The other one I wanted to mention too was we are getting into harvest season, so we're going to start probably chopping corn silage here. Some have already started. There's going to be a lot of trucks and tractors going up and down the road. So just encourage everybody to be safe. Take the time. I know we can get in a hurry. I'm guilty of it. And so just be accountable for that and watch out for our farmers. Last one I wanted to bring up was did anybody receive an email from Chief of Police Jose Pelaez from St. Charles?
About what?
It was about the records management system.
Oh,
The
no.
RMS?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to bring that up. He has some concerns with really the efficiency that's going on there. And it's a very well-written document here, email. And it deals with the transition from the RMS system from a previous system and just some of the issues that they're having. And I'll share it with you.
And she can send.
And
can send it out.
But I'd like somebody to dig into this.
Square.
Yes.
Okay,
And
if
you-
if you could forward that.
I'm going to forward that to you. I just received this last Thursday, so I decided to wait until the meeting here to see if anybody else had it. But you know, he has some genuine concerns with some of the lack of transparency and things like that. So I'd like you to take a look at that. I wanted to bring it up officially at the meeting, so he did know it was being mentioned, and if any other, because that's shared with Lewiston and Winona, I think, and a few others. So if anybody else has any other concerns, so I'll forward that over to you. That's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Meyer.
I wanted to make an announcement about the Braver Angels events. I have some brochures from Braver Angels if you are interested in knowing more about them. They are an organization, a nonprofit organization. I attended MCIT, used them to do some training a couple years ago, how to have difficult conversations with your constituents. I thought it was a fabulous event. They really work on helping folks with different political views and ideologies to have civil conversations and understand one another better. And I have found some of their insights pretty helpful to me. They are going to be partnering with the Center of Civics at Winona State, and they're doing a series of events for the whole day. The pastors are gathering in the morning. They're speaking to the president's cabinet. They're doing events for the faculty, for the students, and then they're doing 2 events for the community. So I think we all got an email from Alyssa Alzadi, but if you didn't or you want, I have a flyer. Karin, I don't know that you would have gotten one, but I've asked the sheriff to come. I've asked Maureen to come. We pass that around. There is a luncheon that is for local elected officials and community leaders to help us sort of have a conversation about understanding one another better. And then there's an event in the evening. And, oh, Marcia, do you want this?
Yeah, I don't remember seeing this much of a detailed.
There's more in there, I think. And there's an event in the evening which is for the community. And I have, they hope to gather people who have, they call them blues and reds. And they really do need people of both kind of political ideologies in order for us to have a successful conversation and understand one another. So I would encourage folks in the community to come, and then I hope that the county board can make a good showing.
And Commissioner Meyer, what's the date? Thursday?
25th
25th.
of September, and the luncheon is at 11:30 to 1, and it's at Minnesota State Southeast. The evening event is at Crisco Commons, and 6:30 to 8. So if we go at the lunchtime, we get lunch, but I think there'll be some snacks for the evening.
Okay, all right. Amy, that covers it. Thank you. Let's see, a couple things. Yeah, the comp plan tomorrow night in Stockton. Yes, the regretful news from Senator Miller. He served us well, and but totally understand. Something we've touched on, so maybe a potential board action. I've had several with the news of the 12+% increase. I've had several people reach out to me and ask me to reconsider. And again, with the loss of staff, Chuck leaving, it was none of our doing, but you know, we don't have a finance, is to create that Citizen Advisory Finance Committee. And I don't know if I have a second on that, and
I'll second it.
okay, so that would go for next time. Thank you. We got a lot of bike rides coming up, and I was notified. So we got the ride, and you talk about traffic on the roads with the farm equipment. So we're gonna have a lot of bicycles Saturday, September 20th. Not this weekend, next weekend. We have the Ride the Ridges, which is kind of a Winona-based thing, but they come out into my neighborhood, down into downtown Noda and everything. And there's another, it's called it's a national gravel. I know little about it because they didn't contact me. They have been in contact with the sheriff's office and the highway. A gravel road race based out of La Crescent. And they're going to be overlapping some of the same roads. Hopefully we don't have traffic lights and we don't have roundabouts up there, so they should be okay. But just so everybody's aware, we're going to have a lot of bicyclists in the area, especially the southeast part of the county on Saturday, September 20th, and to be aware of them and, just slow down and let them share the road because it's not usual to see a lot of bicyclists out on the rural roads. So it is something to be aware of. Okay, anything else to come before the Winona County Board? Entertain a motion.
So move.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Elzing and second by Commissioner Vagley to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Adjourn. Can we take like a 5-minute break, please? Thank you. Let's put. It's 10.1, discuss potential presentation from Southeast Minnesota Nitrate Strategies Collaboration Work Group. And Commissioner Meyer.
So I
Yeah.
passed
Mhm.
around their report last time.
Yep.
At this meeting, I want to know if at least three of us would be interested in inviting them to come give a presentation about what their findings were. And I think probably we could ask if specifically like the folks who were from Winona County, maybe Glen Growth and
Stockton, City Clerk, Rita. Oh.
Rita Young, maybe would like to.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the question today. Are at least three of you interested in asking them to come give us a short presentation?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. that's
But
it.
timing wise, maybe after we get some of this budget work done, I mean, to give them our full attention, not cram it in when, it doesn't need to be tomorrow. I mean, when we have opportunity and time to think about it. Okay, all right?
That's it.
Okay, that takes care of that. Then, working session 11.1, discuss compensation philosophy, performance management and direction of the organization. Page 142, and it looks like you guys been doing some homework. Thank you.
Hello.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Good.
Wow,
Thank
look
you for
at
the
that
time.
podium, little side table.
Ah,
Isn't the podium nice?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of.
Well, So I do have a PowerPoint that.
The
Yeah.
difference in the one in the packet?
Oh, I
Okay,
don't
then.
think so.
I got,
oh. but
I got it
it's
in
shoot-
bigger
Thank
print.
you.
Take notes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for the time. Crap. So looking at, I've been here 4 months now, and looking at some things that I recommend as far as a comp philosophy. Heard some of the commission members very well, very clearly, that looking at a pay for performance is one of the number one priorities for some of the board. So starting with, I think you can. Comp philosophy is what I'm going to talk about today, and then also performance management. Performance management gets into a pay for performance, and truly we have 10 unions. I'm going to say from experience, was a successful one time many years ago when I was a county administrator, HR director for Jasper County, Iowa. I was able to get it through ASME Council 61 at their facility. Budget reasons, we looking at $1 million increase. We closed our care facility, so I didn't get it implemented, but the union did agree to it.
okay.
So, and then pay for performance is a future discussion. I think we need to set the parameters first, what the comp philosophy looks like. I think the board might have been through this back in the 90s, I think. Similar discussion on the comp philosophy. And one thing I want to look at is, what is the comp philosophy? I think you can, I usually do it myself, I apologize. Effectively implement compensation. And I heard the board a couple of sessions ago saying, is our comp still correct, looking at the 7 surrounding counties, the 7 counties that we have? Part of that is looking is, do we need to look at other comparable? Assistance performance management is important. Right now, we have UKG, and that in that system, we have the capability of putting a performance management system in there. We've been inconsistent. And by that is we meet with our employees, but it's not a standardized process, looking at measurables, looking at the effectiveness of that. It's not going to be. Is it off? And then transparency and fairness is important. And like we talked about earlier today about the transparency to our constituents out there, seeing what we're doing as an organization in alignment with Winona County
values and guiding principles is important. And then sustainability. As we look at it, I don't, you look at the future economist and our taxes and the constituents are very concerned about the taxes keep going up. We need to look at sustainability. We can't continue to have some of the levy increases that we have. 2 slides, Heidi. Again, alignment with our goals, county goals and strategic goals. As I've been talking to our leadership about the importance of we set a goal for our county. We set a value and mission statement. That's important. And we do it, one, for a reason. It is our guiding principles. Performance management, again, is important. As we look at that and as we look at reporting to the board, the commission, on how our employees are performing. Are we meeting our constituents' needs? Are we meeting the commission's needs? So that's important. Market compatibility and fiscally responsible. And one thing looking at being fiscally responsible is one, making sure our employees are performing to the standards that we would like. Also looking at the market, making sure we're not above the market. We want to stay at the mid-range of the market.
Can I ask a question? So here we're saying market, and you mentioned our neighboring counties and maybe cities and such, which I appreciate. But then when we go to doing these comparisons, you use those counties that are comparable. So is there a big distinction between those figures? When you do we'll have it coming up, the elected officials, you pull out those counties and you use those counties and again, I question why we use those counties versus the neighborhood. Of course, the neighborhood we know includes Olmsted, Rochester, and then that probably maybe throws us all off, but.
Yeah, so part of it is, we have 10 bargaining agreements or as far as looking like interest arbitration. And I'm assuming that's how, when we establish some of the counties, is looking at what's comparable, because if we go to arbitration, can we compare ourselves to Olmsted County, population 150,000?
No.
No. And that's the neighboring county. That's one of our adjoining counties. So that's what you got to look at is our population, tax base, demographics, and those type of things as part of that comparable. And the 7 we're using, maybe that's changed over the years as to the comparability to our county, but we are using those currently. I think the election commission, is that what we call it? I'm sorry, the commission that looks at the pay for elected officials. I'm assuming they're using the same counties that you mentioned.
Actually, what we do is we use the same counties, but it's just based on, I'm going to back up just a little bit. Again, many years ago, the board looked at what counties are comparable by 10% above and below. I wasn't
10% population.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm not saying that was an exact science, but that is the direction that was established.
Yep.
But this is exactly why we really should revisit is what should our comparables be today?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay, we haven't done that for many, many years.
Sure. And none of us were at the table. You were probably the only one in the system.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably.
Except Mary Lee Parentos.
Right. But how we did come up with the comparables is to look at, if we're going to go to arbitration, to compare it to what the arbitrators are going to use.
Mhm.
And that's how we came up with those entities. Again, I'm not saying it's 100% right,
Sure.
but it's what they use.
The methodology they used. Yeah.
So going back to that, so that methodology would be negotiated with Penn Union?
We did. At the time, it
At-
was
at
7
the time.
unions.
But how long has that been? And as you said, it might need to be revisited, but do you have to negotiate revisiting it? Because an arbitrator's gonna say, why did you change it?
Technically, no. We just have to have a basis, a reason for why we changed. And if we want it to go smoothly, we're going to work with the collective bargaining groups about why. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
we need to have logic.
Okay. Commissioner Meyer.
Is it still true that when we have gone into arbitration that they use those exact counties, or did they pick different ones?
Once in a while, they have selected some other ones. But for the most part, those are. Yeah.
And they don't do that because they're the ones that we use. They do that because they have their own criteria?
Correct.
Okay.
But now these wage studies, have we done that's something that haunts everybody. And I know I've had a couple counties do those and they really have thrown a loop.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm gonna recommend. Heidi, if you could go like 3 slides, it's the mission, alignment with the mission statement. The next one. Thank you. So one thing that I'm gonna recommend too is a comp study. And, you know, I did it at West Des Moines. We did it at the state. And one thing is that the last one was either 99 or 2000. It looks like there might have been one in 2009. You know, general standards are recommended every 3 to 5 years. I'm not recommending that today, but one thing I am going to, you know, is going to be the recommendation. We can't make any decisions today is a comp study. Because one thing over the years, we've sent it to Hay, the onesie positions, and we can get out of line with that. The other thing that a compensation study would do is they would look at what we're looking at now for our comparables, and they would look at that market analysis to determine, is this the best fit for our county to utilize these comparables or other comparables?
And
So
they don't come cheap.
you know, and we did survey, and the lowest would have been, it's $43,000.
Oh, not as bad as I thought.
And it'd be over 2 years. And then the other one was 70,000. 75,000 was one of the, can I say who they are? Corn Ferry was 75,000 minimal cost. David Don was 55,000, and then McGrath was 41,750. And I can tell you from my experience, I'm not anyway, but I use them in West Des Moines. And I can tell you that they both, it's a privately ran company, and she was a city administrator for years and then started this company.
What was the name of the last one?
McGrath.
McGrath?
Yeah.
All right,
So-
but we're not at that point yet.
We're not at that point, no. And it'll be over 2 budget years, so.
Could we negotiate the union pays half?
No, probably not. No, probably. I've not had the union ever agree to that, but
If you don't ask, if you
yeah,
don't ask,
yeah.
put it on the table. Okay.
But again, the comp philosophy fits into the mission and vision of our organization. One is that alignment with the market conditions, and that's under 471.993. Compensations must be made internal alignment, external competitiveness, and proportion differences across job levels and responsibilities. So again, that's why I'm at the recommendation of doing a comp study, is making sure that we are aligned. And then, of course, Minnesota statute, again, counties are required to establish equitable compensation relationships across jobs, classifications, eliminate sex, gender-based wages. Having a formal job evaluation system as part of the evaluation or statute, and results must be shared with employees' representatives in the collective bargaining. So that's where, you know, it's not really an agreement, but it's the discussion that here's the comparables, because the county can use different, or sorry, the unions could use different comparables, but they have to be able to explain those as well. And you know, I've seen it over the years where, for example, West Des Moines, they may have used a county in Illinois. There was a very, you know, like Naperville, very expensive, kind of affluent community, and it wasn't comparing apples to apples. So you get to be able to compare.
Sure.
So
I apologize. In a comp study for like us, would they compare us to like the city employees,
no,
or it's county to
it's
county?
county to county.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. The only thing is that, you know, sometimes with the comp study, they'll look at if you're losing employees to a city, then they may pull that in to see what's going on. Is it the pay? Is it the benefits? But, you know, at arbitration, I would argue it's not comparable because it's a city versus a county.
Okay.
And the comp philosophy one is to retain skilled, motivated employees. You know, the markets become very competitive. And sometimes what you see now is that employees use, like coming here to look for a job, they use that to gain higher pay for their current job where they're currently at. But we got to look at retaining our skilled, motivated employees, strengthen county's knowledge and abilities. And that gets into the comp philosophy with the performance evaluations, et cetera. Foster culture of continuous improvement. What I heard earlier is, again, we always got to look at how we can improve, prepare leadership for transition, and then deliver higher quality, forward-looking services is what I see in a comp philosophy. And then again, fiscally sustainability. When we develop a comp philosophy, that's why a lot of times I recommend doing a 3 to 5 year study on the comp study. Make sure you're not out of whack as far as your pay plan, but also making sure that you're being fiscally responsible, mindful. Heidi, if you could go 2 slides. One more.
I think it's a little bit more.
One more. Nope, another one, sorry. I lost track. I wasn't watching the screen. I'm looking at my own. Workforce stability and retention, like I said, community impact, public trust. And again, if the public sees that we're being mindful and 1, evaluating employees, 2, they're always looking at the market, and then also develop a culture of continuous improvement and long-term return on investment. Our employees, it was stated earlier, is the #1 investment. It's one of our highest part of our budget, and we got to make sure that we're being mindful of that piece of our budget. And the other thing I was going to bring up, I'll find my draft that I put together. Let's put another folder. But one thing is that looking at a total reward system, and it's more than the wages. Wages are important, but it's also our work-life balance, our benefits, sick leave, vacation, all of that as a total rewards, healthy initiatives. So it's an all-encompassing that you put into a philosophy. For instance, Scott County describes its philosophy as offering 6 categories: investment, physical health, belonging, fiscal security, work-life balance, training, and emotional health. For example, that's what Scott County put together as part of their comp philosophy. You can move 2 slides, Heidi. One more. So, like we stated, we have 10 bargaining units, and collective bargaining and a merit-based adjustments. And, looking at performance evaluations, and the language in our contract doesn't prohibit evaluations, but it would have to be negotiated if we did a pay for performance. In other sectors, what I've done, and Iowa law is different, very different, but, we did, if somebody wasn't performing, we withheld their step increase, somewhat of a pay for performance. And then, like I said, most county positions are unionized. I think we have only 14 that aren't. Compensation philosophy is implemented through the collective bargaining agreements, which may include general salary increases, step progression, merit-based performance increases. So that's again, getting to a pay performance, even like what you said, the directors, they are an association, it would have to be bargained. But so it's a key driver of the organization's performance and community impact. If you can move, Heidi, 1 slide. It ensures we reward the talent, commitment, and innovation needed to deliver meaningful outcomes today and for the generations to come. So, like I said, one thing I'm asking that we consider is a comp study. And these generally take 7 to 9 months. That's why it's over 2 budget terms. And then also, that we really need to look at structuring our performance evaluation process where, managers are required to do performance evaluations, are required to have core competencies that an employee is rated on, and that communication is consistent with those employees. I've done employee engagement surveys in different places, large organizations, small organizations. And the #1 key thing that came out of that is the feedback and knowing how I'm doing as an employee. Employees want to know. So it's important that we have a stringent performance management process. So why performance management? Why a compensation philosophy manage? It helps allocate resources based on data, not guesswork. Ensures policies and investments are aligned with real outcomes, offers evidence to justify budget, grants, or legislative changes. builds public trust by showing taxpayers how the money is spent and what we're achieving through the evaluation of our employees. If you can go 2 slides. One more. Thank you. Drives better outcomes for residents, enables departments to identify what's working and fix what's not. It focuses on results, not just activities or outputs, helps prioritize programs that deliver the most impact to the community. Link daily operations to long-term goals. Everything that we're doing as a county should be associated with our long-term mission, vision, and core values. Whether it's getting grants or any projects that we're working on, it should be budget-based, based on our philosophy. Encourage collaboration across departments for shared priorities. And again, what I've found with this is sometimes you have 2 employees doing the same thing in different departments or similar things. Why are we doing that as an efficiency? Why isn't one person in reallocating them? Keep the county focused on mission-driven outcomes, and then identify underperforming programs or duplicated services, encourage evidence-based budget and process improvement, saves times and money by limiting inefficiencies. Heidi, if you can go to the next slide. So again, working effectively and efficiently, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be cognizant of time. So includes setting clear expectations, providing regular feedback, evaluating performance, and developing skills to improve services. And this, again, it just highlights, the next slide, Heidi, just highlights again why I think it's important that we look at this, that we can set clear expectations and identify performance gaps, training needs, transparent communication expectations across the department coming from our commissioners to our employees, better return on investment in personnel. So the other thing that I've just kind of some highlights here, Heidi, 2 slides. One is a county-based competencies, and that's just what the next one. The form looks like. It's in UKG. There's no cost to it. It's part of the HRS product we bought out of UKG. We don't have to recreate, but we put the competencies in there that we want all employees to have, and then that'd be specific to their department. Managers would be responsible for SMART goals. And again, it's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely goals, measuring those goals to get the outcomes that we want as a county. Give me 1 second, I'll find my draft. Philosophy recommendation I put together.
Do you want this? Do you have the one in the packet?
Yeah, that's it.
Do you want to look at that one?
So I did put together, it was in the packet, a draft comp philosophy to consider. And
I think it might be on page 167.
Okay.
Is that the one, Maureen?
Yeah, I gave them my copy.
so I also went through and drafted just a specific, and again, this is up to the commission. But different from the packet is I reworked the lights that I put together and put a specific draft of compensation philosophy together for you to consider.
So this is different than what was in the packet?
One thing that's different is just the first part of it is, and maybe I shouldn't be handing it out, but I just wanted to, whether than the board have to recreate, I put my highlights together for a specific, philosophy. So it's all there. It's just composed into a paragraph.
What's the ask today? Are we
Yep.
just
Just-
thinking about how we
Consider-
approach this?
I would like to put on the next agenda, for discussion, the compensation study.
Commissioner Meyer.
Yeah, we have had numerous discussions about activity-based budgeting, and we were gonna start with planning and environmental services. Is it, even though Chuck abandoned us, are we still going to be moving forward with that initiative?
We still are.
Okay, great, because I see that fitting in with many of the things that you're saying in terms of knowing these are the main activities of this particular department. And then our ability to know that the employees are focused on the ones that the board sets as priorities. So I think that's great. I think that would be a great direction to go, and it would provide more transparency.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a tough one. Because what motivates people is different. And I've been working for other companies, my own companies, trying to figure out a way how to make it happen. And I go back to Jerry Maguire. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Show me the
Show
money.
me the money, right? It comes down to, in every aspect, when you put a system into play on anything that has to revolve around money, is this phrase: how do we monetize it? Because if you can't monetize it when dealing with money, you almost can't reward it. And because outside of that, all you're doing is redefining the role of what somebody should already be doing. And then you begin to pay a bonus on something that, or a reward system on something that they already are doing. And I've seen that happen where we take a particular person's role and we say, well, if you follow these measures, we'll give you a bonus. Well, that's already definitive in their job description of what they're supposed to do. So it's one of the issues when it comes to pay for performance, bonus systems, comprehensive payback plans, whatever it is, right? So one of the few things that I've learned is starting things with minimal impact. For example, can we implement it in any area that we don't have to worry about any pushback from, our unions or something like that. Almost as like a trial type scenario when we look at pay for performance, when we look at setting these standards in which to follow. The other thing that I would really want to focus on is the monetization aspect of it. In other words, the reduction bonuses, hey, we set the budget is set here. You came in under this budget. I'm just using an example. You came in under this budget. Hey, that group of staff gets a percentage of that. Things like that, getting creative as to, we can have the 1 through 5, 6s here. But as we move forward with this and we start looking at getting down this chart to the pay for performance future and how we set up the compensation philosophy and performance management is all leading up to the pay for performance aspect. And I think if we start with a vision of what are we trying to achieve as the end goal, that will set and define that. So for example, I'm working on that right now in what I do. So does that make sense?
Can I respond?
Yeah, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, one thing in public sector, we can't get bonuses. So it is the pay. And what I'm recommending on a performance evaluation process is we can't get bonuses. But if an employee is not performing, then we look at, do they get the step increase?
Yeah.
And again,
everything I
that's,
said was loose laid based on my.
Yeah,
What if
no,
we're
no.
at the
Right.
top of the
But-
steps, and I don't want more steps. I mean,
yeah.
I understand that, but again, if they're at the top of the steps and they're not performing, which can happen for who knows what reason, then what's the
Well,
alternative to
we
that?
should be addressing the performance through the other measures that we have as far as corrective action. And again, I'm not up here advocating that we discipline everybody, but if somebody's not performing, we need to know that, right? And that's where the documentation from the evaluation system comes in, because if we don't start there, it's not fair to the employee or the manager as to that conversation. You're not performing. Well, this is news to me. You never told me that before.
Right, and that's happened, yeah.
Yeah.
Commissioner Meyer.
Mr. Elsing, I feel a need to sort of express an alternate point of view. Because while the financial part is important, I think that it is wrong to communicate to our staff that the only thing we care about is lower taxes and spending less money. Because we are a government sector and we provide services. So I thought about how, like, what I would want our employees to have as a goal when they're meeting people at the counter. And so let's say that an individual no longer qualifies for SNAP because their age has changed, but they're having trouble feeding themselves. And they are talking to one of our social workers. I want that social worker not to tell them to go away because I don't have a program from the state that can help you. I want them to provide them with a list of all the food shelves in town and other ways that they could supplement their food supply. So sometimes I want our staff to provide a service, even if it isn't a direct thing that we will get reimbursed for by the state of Minnesota. Because overall, we are responsible for the health and welfare of our residents, and our job is human services. In the same way, if somebody came to the Planning and Environmental Services counter and they're wanting to get a conditional use permit or some kind of other permits, and our staff, I want our staff to have spent the time to fully understand our zoning ordinance and all of the complexities of state and federal and local ordinances around whatever the request is. And then to take the time to give them guidance if they feel like, well, you know, there's a couple things about what you've said about your site plan that are going to conflict with this or this and require, maybe you have to come in front of the Board of Adjustment. But if you were to do such and so and consider not moving, you know, moving the house this way or that way, I want our staff to feel like they can take the time to provide the services for our residents. And honestly, when I look at the services that I get from government, I want Chelsea's staff to have time to talk to me about a problem. I don't want our staff to think that the only thing that the county board cares about is keeping costs low. Not that that's not important, of course it is. But in our position, it is also about the services that we provide and helping people and helping them to feel like they're getting the value for the tax money that they pay to us. So I mean, I think it's important to recognize both.
So I think you probably must not have heard the first couple things I said. The very first thing I said was, in conjunction with these 6 core principles, the reality of it is to me, the very first thing I said was, we oftentimes redefine the role, which is what they should already be doing. Those things are things they should already be doing. So now we're just giving them a bonus for doing what they should already be doing. And I use the word bonus, I realize, but what I'm saying is that the pay for performance, to me, that's what they should already be doing. So we're just redefining the role of the very jobs that they should be doing already. I want all of those things. But at the end of the day, to monetize it, you have to recognize something that created an efficiency for the taxpayer. So I have an expectation when I come in that they do every one of those things already. And if they're getting paid 50 grand for that, great, keep paying 50,000 for that. I have the expectation that's going to happen for the negotiated salary already. I'm not asking them to do any more than what they already should be doing. I'm just simply saying, how do you monetize it? And so this is what I've seen. That very thing back starts to fall. When you look at that, it's no different than in sales. Well, I have an expectation to sell. Well, how much? And the more I give them, they tend to work harder towards that. True experience. I've lived that myself. But the reality of it is you could say, well, they're just expected to sell. Well, when do they quit? Well, I don't know. Well, how much information should they give? Well, I don't know. So I have the expectation that they do all that already. What I'm asking for is you go back to the monetization aspect is what we're after. So I'll give you an example. If that particular person doesn't want to do that and a department head recognizes that they're not taking the time to do that, it would be a reason to say, hey, we're not going to give you a step increase. We have an expectation that you were to go do all that stuff, right? That's already what your job description is. You should be doing all that. Where the monetization aspect comes into play is if the person says, hey, I see we're getting busier here. Or can you find a way to do and find all this information more efficient so we don't have to hire another person to go do all that? That is how you begin to monetize it, because as the workload increases, we find the inefficiencies, we fix the efficiencies so that we just simply don't throw more money at the situation as the workload increases. So the monetization aspect comes in that the set of professional customer service that we have an expectation when somebody walks into this building, that we don't just begin to throw money at it to fix the problem, but we look at saying, how do we access this information better? The above and beyond starts to happen as workload increases or decreases, and recognizing as the work, as you mentioned too, having people doing one person's job or overlapping, we also recognize it on the downward side. As we decrease the need for any particular thing, somebody steps up to the plate and says, hey, we have two individuals here that are really only working 3/4 of the time. Is it a lot more efficient for us to say, hey, can we repurpose you into a new role, put this all into one person's plate, and figure out how to compensate them for willing to do that? That's the monetization aspect, but yet the same outcome of the professional services happen. That's pay for performance. And that's the department heads putting those programs together and figuring out how to monetize that. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes. Other,
The other thing I was going to say, I'll bring forward is, I'll make sure it's on the board packet, the updated, but the comp philosophy, to see if the board will approve a comp philosophy, and then, as a comp study, so.
all right. I don't know if it's part of our decision making, but it's always informational. I will contact a county administrator up in Itasca County, and I think they just went through a comp study, and look out. It was significant, and they live in Lake Country. It's beautiful up there.
What was significant about
Pay raises.
it?
Yeah, the pay raises they had to do to get, in with the neighborhood, I guess is what you'd say. And I don't know any details of it, but the comments have been made. It was a significant pay increase, and stuff like that. So. But you don't have to, like you said, you don't have to do it all with pay. And, I was reading some, this Gen Z and all the new employee coming through has different expectations than the different generation and stuff. So I don't know how we address that. I mean, they want flexibility in work schedule. They want to, have that work-life balance type of thing, and they want more time off, or they want to work from wherever, Timbuktu. I think we have to require them to work in the United States. They can't zoom in from out of the United States, but I know, well, during COVID, we had an employee working from Florida, and I didn't know it, for some time. So there's more than, and I agree, but most of it's, what's the check at the end of the pay period. But there are other things, and I don't know how counties accommodate those desires of the new workforce. I don't know. I know, most of my children don't go to an office every day. But then I made a comment, why is there so much traffic in the metro area? Well, Mom, everybody's back in the office. No, you're at home Tuesdays and Thursdays. Why is the traffic, gotten, and why are the downtown business buildings empty? Because they're not working from the office, but there again, it's a different mindset of what that employee wants to do and how they do it. And then how do we monitor it, and how do we,
I just think it's great that we're starting to look at this. And it's a very difficult process. It really is. And it just gives me chills when I think about how to motivate people. And it's difficult, but I think
it's different now.
It's different now. And there's a lot, in one aspect, there's a lot more asked of people. In another aspect, there's a lot less asked of people. And it's a balance.
You know what, this afternoon, I'll ask Perplexity how to do it, and they'll give me a whole big report.
I'll just add, so then we should probably get going, is that I hope that we also talk with the staff and the unions, because they also are very vested in the interest of. So I know as a teacher, sometimes what the school board does is like a million miles, away from reality, et cetera, and reality checks. So I hope we have this conversation with unions as well.
Yeah. I don't know my employees' jobs. No, I don't know.
Because they are also interested in long-term, they want a long-term rewarding job. And monetization is important, but so is autonomy, freedom, and ownership, some control over their space and being rewarded. So as in addition to this, I support the idea of a comp study might, like you just said, it might not result in the end result may not match your political philosophy because the facts might come back, but that goes for all of us as well
Mhm.
too. So, yeah.
A question for Maureen. So I was union president for several years, and I know City would only did a comp study, but they wouldn't share it.
It's
It
a
was secret.
confidential
Yeah,
document.
confidential document. So we really don't ever know what it said.
The outcome, so the actual document is confidential to administration. And then it needs to be deciphered because there's a lot of questions that go back and forth to get clarification about why it came out the way it did. Because again, they have a snapshot. They don't really have that intimate knowledge of what each position does.
So it's gonna be like the Epstein files, so.
No,
Like what?
The
The
Epstein files.
that's, no. Um,
I
We'll
think
get the Zoom bombers.
but it is, the outcome, meaning what is the county gonna do with that outcome has to be shared with the employees.
There's a summary, at least that I've,
Right,
Yeah.
but again, all the
Yeah.
details of the confidential report is not provided to the employees or the unions. But the outcome is, you know what I mean?
So I
25% under
That
compensated.
they find that X position should be adjusted by X or, yeah, that kind of stuff.
And then how does that work into the pay equity report when you have female dominated positions and male dominated positions, and then do you have to justify a change because of a compensation study?
and that's why you need a vendor
Yep.
that understands Minnesota law, because it's different than Iowa, different than Illinois. But they have to look at that as part of the whole comp philosophy and the comp study. But that's a great point. And that's one thing we look at is, do they know Minnesota law? I mean, the equity and making sure they're looking at that as they're doing the comp study. Yeah, it's important.
we discriminate.
The other part
It's
is
outright
market.
discrimination.
The other
but we
part
don't
is
do that.
market.
Yeah.
You know, there are market demands for certain positions and sometimes we have to pay more for certain positions at certain periods of time. You know, it ebbs and flows, but that's all part of having, you know, a specialized vendor do the process because that's their job is to figure that out.
So this
And right
vendor, is it like I guess none of us really know how they do that. I guess an example of like, is it a questionnaire that they
Yep,
come
it
in
is.
and such? So if we could see those parameters before they start, that would maybe give us some insight what we're going to end up with.
Yeah, I can put an
example of
a summary together, just,
It really depends what vendor.
yeah, well, when we get closer to, picking a vendor, I guess, yeah,
How much do you have in your budget?
some
you know, I've got like 2 vacant positions. Just kidding.
No.
Just kidding. Just kidding. That's HR sense of humor.
Oh, I mean,
But yeah, I mean, that's where it'd be over 2 years. You know, and in looking at what we have in the budget, I think, over 2 years, we'd have to look at it, but I think the recommendation would be to do that. So
Thanks for your work on.
stay tuned. There will be more.
there'll be more.
There'll
Yeah.
be more.
Yeah.
Educate us. Okay. All right. Anything else?
Closed session now, right?
Yeah, now we got to go next door to a closed session. Maureen,
Yes,
we need
we
to
are
go
next door. for
next door.
closed session.
do you have to read it?
Yes, we have to
Oh,
close here and then go
Okay.
in there.
All right, we're going into closed session pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.03 subdivision 1B to discuss strategies for labor negotiations for all collective bargaining units.